So I'm in the lushness of the greenhouse, enjoying how hot it is. It's actually it's actually too hot for this sweater. And I'm here to tell you guys that it's gonna frost tonight. That is what the weather is telling me. So I don't have to worry about these tomatoes here. I know that the greenhouse is gonna protect everything well enough that these things won't get hit by the frost, and I probably will still get a couple more weeks on these before they're just not gonna ripen anymore. But the rest of my garden is full of stuff that is susceptible to frost. Pretty much the only thing that we have in the garden that can survive a hard frost is our kale. We grow a variety of kale called winterboard, and we don't have to worry about frost at all on it. But I have tomatoes. I have a whole bed of tomatoes in my garden. I have a lot of chard. The chard is super susceptible. Like one even light frosting and it's just gone. You know, the beets, their foliage dies with a frost. Same with carrots. The foliage dies, but then the root is still good. But, you know, it gets harder to pull out when you lose the greens. You know, so Leah's peas, can't forget Leah's peas. She'd be upset to see those go. So tonight, there's supposed to be a frost, but then it's going to warm up again for the rest of the week. So I need to figure out some solutions for tonight. So what the plan is for today is I'm going to rip out my entire bed of tomatoes. They haven't really been ripening too much anymore. I still have lots that are going to ripen up in here. I'm hoping to still get, you know, another 100 pounds or so out of the greenhouse. But the ones in the garden, they're going to go. And then what I do is I take my tomato cages and I use it as supports. And anytime we get these like one nights of frost, I come out and I use the tomato cages to hold blankets up over top of the things in my garden bed that I want to protect. So I'll actually stake the tomato cages around. I'll go get my outside beach blankets, my old sleeping bags, sheets, things that I keep around for this use, and I just drape it over there. Everyone gets tucked into bed tonight, and then fingers crossed, if the frost comes, it just settles on the blanket on top. Won't actually freeze hard in onto the plants, and then I'll be able to get another week or two. But we gotta say goodbye to those tomatoes. They gotta go. So come join us. We're gonna be ripping those out, and then we will have lots of green tomatoes. So those we don't have to worry about too much. They last pretty good. And some of them will ripen if you have green tomatoes, because you have to strip off your plants. If you have anything, like these are a good example. Like these would still ripen because they've fully developed. They just need to turn red. But if you have fruit that's, you know, like on this one, it's super small, it's just starting to develop, that's never going to ripen. But there's lots of uses for green tomatoes, so bring them in. You know, even if you don't get to them right away, you're still going to get lots of use out of them. Well, that's a pretty good mountain of of dead tomatoes and radishes. It's about as tall as my toddler. And you can see we had both some ripe and some green tomatoes in there. So there you go. You can see the carnage, post-carnage. This area I'm going to be planting with my garlic. So that needs to get into the ground if the frosts are already coming. So, you know, not a bad time. I'll get this all raked up and a final weed done on it, and then I'll get the garlic into the ground sometime this week. So Leah's pea bed here, this is already all prepped for me to be able to fix it up. I use the tomato cages as trellises for the peas to climb up, so they're already here. But what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to drape the blanket over here. I'm not going to do it yet. I would do it basically right before I go to bed, because the frost usually happens at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I don't want them to get like smothered and all heated up and steamy in there. Keeps my blankets cleaner too. So I will show you that when I come out tonight and throw them on. Well, I'm not excited about that frost that we're supposed to get, but at least I got things set up and it looks like I will survive. And it does look like the weather is going to get warm again in the evenings for the following week. So that's going to give me another good week of growing, and hopefully I'll be able to get everything that I need out. You know, I have to get some of that chard into the freezer. I have a lot, and you know, I have to recognize it is October, so can't complain too much. So I have everything put to bed nicely under their blankets out here in the garden. Gotta do my best to try to keep that frost from settling on there. And I also have given a little bit of protection onto my citrus tree here. So I'm crossing my fingers that's gonna do the trick. Usually does, but it's only 10 o'clock and it's already pretty cold out here, so I'm definitely thinking there will be a frost. Okay, so it looks like we did get a frost last night. All this kind of damage here, you can see the frost kind of melted on that leaf a little bit. It wasn't a super heavy frost because these look like they'll bounce back up, but let's see how my stuff is doing under the blankets. Oh, it all looks pretty happy. That's definitely basil when it gets frosted. Oh, Leah's peas. Let's see. Oh, looking very happy. So I did it, yay, success. We didn't lose our delicate crops. You know, the stuff that looks like we did lose from that frost last night is stuff that doesn't really matter at this point. All the food items seem to have done pretty well, so yay! And now my kale will be a bit sweeter. Do you guys have any tricks that you use when frost is coming in? I know it always sneaks up on me every year. I always forget. I'm having too much fun to recognize that the end is near, but you know. And if you want to see if it works out and see how much we actually can get out for the October season, make sure to subscribe and join us back here tomorrow.